year. So Kevin has a great story, and he's a great addition to our club. He puts in, lots of volunteer hours, and he does a lot of great work in the community. So looking forward to hearing from Kevin, and I will turn it over to you.
Thanks, Alyssa. Thank you. So, thank you all. So, I'm here talking about my life, and it's really easy for me to talk about because I'm a Toastmaster, and the first speech that you give is your icebreaker, and you talk about yourself. So I should be comfortable. So I want to begin from the beginning. I was born in Harrisburg Hospital. I was told that I was born during a Penn State game. I was told that the doctors, when my mom was in labor, actually were listening to a Penn State game on the radio. Now, I didn't believe this. That's kind of hard to believe, because the history of me and Penn State. I love Penn State, but so I didn't believe it. And I actually did some research, and I was born on a Saturday at 3:30 in the afternoon, and Penn State did play Temple that year, and Penn State, they whooped them. They whooped Temple. So, yeah. So I believe blue and white from the beginning. Anyway, so moving on, I grew up in Hershey. I went to Hershey High. So at an early age, I learned that brown cows don't make chocolate milk. So then, like from Hershey, I was involved in the fine arts. I was involved in chorus, in orchestra. I played a violin for 12 years. I played a cello for 6. I was in musicals. I was in Guys and Dolls. I was in Annie. I was in plays. I was in choir leaders. Yeah. So I was in the fine arts, but I also played lacrosse. I had a sports side to me, and I loved, like, I was a long stick defenseman, and I just loved it. They call it the rock, the ball, because it's so hard. It's really hard to handle, and here, like, because like the team I played for was a newer team, they had a lot of hitting. They couldn't handle the rock. They didn't know how to cradle it. It would always be on the ground, so a lot of hitting. Anyways, moving on. My high school years, they were fun. I went to Arizona. I went to Arizona State. That's how I know the picture from Scott Little. I'm very familiar with what he was showing with the Grand Canyon and Sedona, and yeah, I've been up there many times. But so I went out to Arizona State for my undergrad, and I got in a bad car accident. I used to restore cars. And I bought a 1960 Sunbeam Alpine, which is the convertible, like, from Get Smart. It's like a 57 miniature 57 T-Bird. It was cool. It was really cool. But it got in an accident in Arizona, and I didn't finish my undergrad, and I flew back to PA to finish my rehabilitation. And that accident left me in a coma for 2 weeks of my life. I was in a coma. Then I was in the hospital in Arizona for about 2 months, a little less than 2 months. Then I came back to PA and I went to rehab. And while I was in rehab, I got my undergrad. I finished up my undergrad at Penn State, Harrisburg. And I got my BS. I love saying that. I got my BS in marketing. And which is kind of cool because now, like, yeah, but yeah, so I got my BS in marketing at Penn State. And yeah, so I had a walker. I graduated from my wheelchair to my walker for getting my undergrad. It was hard. I mean, I've felt a lot of times. It's really a struggle getting back physically. It's really a struggle for me, and that's how I met Steve at Etown Fitness Club. I don't know if anyone knows Steve, the owner, but I know Steve from when I lived in the village of Pineford in Middletown when I was going to Penn State Harrisburg. I know Steve because he owned that small gym in Pineford, and it's great seeing Steve every day and talking. And that's how I know Mark Mueller, and Mark actually spoke to our club about MS Effect. But yeah, they're good people. So anyway, so then I got my MBA. What time is it? All right, after I got my undergrad at Penn State, I went on and I got my MBA, my master's at Penn State Harrisburg, and you know that time I had a walker and I graduated from walker to a cane, and like my ambulation, my gait was all messed up, and it was the main goal of mine to walk across the stage unassisted and get my diploma. And that is why I had that backdrop. Because that right there, that's my MBA. And it took a lot of strength, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get that. So I did walk unassisted across the stage. So I got my MBA. And yeah. So that's my college career. So after like I got my MBA, I applied for the Navy. I got a job working for the United States Navy in the Foreign Military Sales Program. so so I worked for the Navy for 5 years. And now, all right, here it was graduating from Penn State with an MBA. Now, what did I know about ordnance? You know, and ordnance are the things that go bang. And what did I know about inventory about ordnance? In my job in the Navy, I managed foreign military sales. So I sold the excess to foreign countries. Now, I was an MBA student. What did I know about missiles and stuff? I knew nothing. I could tell you all about SWOT analysis and fishbone diagrams, but I know a thing about SAMs and JSALs, and like I couldn't tell you. So I worked for 5 years for the Navy, and you know, it is what it is. I found out the military, they have a lot of big egos there, and you gotta be careful what you say and do. You gotta be they like people that follow orders, and they you know, so you know, it is what it is. And so then after 5 years working for the Navy, I became a life insurance agent. And I got my life insurance license from the state of Pennsylvania, and I worked for American Income Life. And the only cool thing about that job is that the building was right next to the governor's mansion. So it was cool. It was the address that was 11, I think it was 2105 or 1105 like Front Street. and it's right beside Governor's Mansions, and it was Building 3 in Governor's Plaza. And it's awesome going to work every day and seeing the Governor's Mansion. And, I heard Tom Wolfe never goes there, never stays there. He lives in his house in New York. That's what I heard. I don't know. Sure. I try to stay away from politics. So, yeah, but back to life insurance. So I sold this life insurance, but the area that I was assigned was all the way in the border of Maryland and Pennsylvania. I was managing an area like on Delta, PA, and Delta is down there by York. Like I was in the boonies. Like it was an experience. It really was an experience, and yeah, I don't know what to say about that. I honestly don't. So I'm just gonna move on. So now currently, I got a job working for Hershey's Chocolate World, and it's a weekend job gig. And I started off at the tour ride at Chocolate World. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the tour ride, but it's got that cars that go around the conveyor belt, and that floor doesn't stop. Just keeps going round and round, and that's why I loved it. I love the challenge. I love to be challenged in life, and that is a challenge physically for me. I would go there I remember a couple days when I first got employed by Hershey Chocolate World. I've been working there since 2018. But I remember when I first started working there, like that I would work at 8:30 in the morning and I worked till 11:30 at night. Just walking. Well, that's a challenge, just walking. And my legs were many night I could barely walk up the stairs, but it's all good. It's cool. And then from the tour ride in Hershey, they put me on Create Your Own Candy Bar, which is another attraction at Hershey Chocolate World. And I love this attraction, Create Your Own Candy Bar. It's so cool. Like, you design your own candy bar. But the cool thing about it is, like, I wanted to work on my dictation, on my communication. Because when I first started Toastmasters, and let me rewind a little bit. Back when I had my accident, I had my tongue cut off completely. They had to sew my tongue back on. So that's why I kind of like slur and like this thing I'm dealing with. So, but that was way worse. Like I battled through it. And I owe a lot to Create Your Own Candy Bar because it gets so busy. Well, it did before all this craziness, all this COVID stuff. But it would get so busy during the summers, and it'd just be a constant people coming in, and a lot of repetition, a lot of dictation, repetition your words, just trying to get understood by the public. Which I owe a lot to that because it got me talking faster. And it got me more comfortable talking to people, and which is cool now because now I accepted a position as a brand ambassador for Chocolate World, and I'm still working weekends, which I don't mind. I really don't mind. But as a brand ambassador, I am working during Halloween, this event, and I'm working the Trick or Treat Trail, and I'm promoting the Hershey brand. And it is such a great family place. It's so awesome bringing your kids or grandkids there, and because they got stations all set up around Chocolate World, and I hand out like the candy that we're featuring. I'll hand out to the kids trick or treating, and there's some really awesome costumes. Like they sell these swords at Hershey Park that make noises and light up. It's just so cool. I'm working on my dictation, my communication whenever I'm seeing these kids come in. I'm like, I want to see that sword light up. Make that sword light up. I want to hear it. I want to hear it. And I'll give them more candy for doing it, but not get a kick out of it. It's so awesome. So that's what I do during the weekend. During the week, I'm looking for work. I'm looking for work to use my MBA, but I'm also an area director for Toastmasters. I began Toastmasters. I have a business card that I'll share with you. I began my walk in Toastmasters about 3 years ago. And I'm now, like, I see the progression. I give a lot of speeches to begin with. Now it's working on my leadership skills. And I accepted a couple officer roles in my clubs. Like, I'm a VP of PR for public relations in my Etown club. I'm also a VP of PR for my Conestoga club in Lancaster. So now I'm an area director. So now I'm looking over like 5 different clubs, and there are 2 like the area that I'm over. There are 2 like corporate clubs. I'm overseeing 3 public clubs. And Dennis shared the mission statement at our meeting one time, and I got that mission statement on my business card. And so I have a problem, like anyone is, like our Rotary Club, I have a problem getting members. So right after this meeting, I have a district training about boosting membership in Toastmasters, and and this COVID is really it's throwing you for a loop. Like, I'd rather be in person. I talk with my hands. I like nonverbal body language because I have like, I'm against it. I'm against challenges. I understand that I do have some physical limitations, and I'd like to use the ability. Like, I want to use stuff to my advantage, and it's just COVID. It's frustrating, very frustrating for me. So that's mainly. I want to leave some time for some questions. I think that's about it. So that's where I'm at right now. And Dennis, you're raising your hand.
I am. So Kevin,
yeah.
The one thing you didn't touch on, and the thing that I've seen from you since you joined the club, is I don't think you have missed any service project this club has done since you joined.
Oh, and yeah.
And I know you do service projects for other organizations as well.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you. And that's part of my notes. I should have said something. That's making lemonade out of lemons given. And I feel a duty out to the volunteers most again. That's why I fell in love with Rotary, the motto. service above self. It's awesome. And I owe, like, I was completing a project in Toastmasters and it brought me here to Rotary. And maybe about a week ago, I planted trees at Widow Farm. Do you remember that thing that Wendy showed us, like saying it wasn't, I don't think it was a Rotary sponsored event because I was the only one there. Well, I rocked that t-shirt that Don gives you. I rocked it. And it was cool. Like, you know, I met some awesome people there at Widow Farm. I hope I represented the club as well as I could. And it was just cool. And we were just talking, like, she said the time flew by for her. But yeah, it was great. And I just love that motto, a service above self. And I used to volunteer in Hershey and for my church and different organizations, but it was so disorganized. Like, I was volunteering here and there and for different agencies, but with this club, I want to stay with this club and stay with Etown, and I like the service projects. So yeah, I'm really excited. But thank you, Dennis, for bringing that up. I totally forgot that. So yeah, when you can be a service, just do it. Just do it.
Kevin, I want to thank you for your passion and that you have such contagious energy. And I can only hope that that comes through and is catchy throughout our club. And I just have a quick question. Do you know an orchestra conductor named Ron Schafer by any chance?
That's my dad.
I thought so. I know him quite well from being a fellow orchestra director. When you said you played violin, and you look a lot like him. So oh, that's cool. So thank you so much for your awesome presentation.
Yeah, you're welcome. And that's why, like, Hershey, he was the director of the Hershey Symphony.
Yep.
For a while. And actually, I invited Susan Court, who is a Hershey Rotarian. I invited her to be a guest. However, like, coincidence, she is performing tonight for the Hershey Symphony. That's as weird as that.
Oh, neat. Yep.
So she would like a recording of this so I can give it to her. I have her email, and if I can get recording, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
Kevin, I'll be able to send you a link to it, and you'll be able to get it from down. You'll be able to download it.
Thanks.
Wendy, I'm not sure if you wanted to close or.
No, you could go ahead and close out. I just joined in for the end here.
All righty. Well, thank you, Kevin. Appreciate you popping in here. And, you know, like I said, I think Kevin is a great addition to our club. So does anybody else have any other announcements at all? If not, I think we are good until next week. Have a good one, guys.
See you Saturday at the roadside cleanup, downtown Sparkle.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin. See ya. Thanks, Alyssa.
See you guys.